Here.
Here.
Councilor McCarthy. Councilor Murphy. Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Presley. Councilor Wu. Councilor Yancey. And Councilor Zachem. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
I've been informed by the clerk that a quorum is present. I would ask at this time for all councilors and guests to please rise. I would ask that Councilor Jackson will come to the podium to introduce today's clergy. After the invocation is delivered, I would ask all members and guests to remain standing as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Councilor Jackson. Councilor Jackson?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have the distinct honor today of bringing before you an amazing force of nature in the city of Boston, Reverend Willie Broderick from 12th Baptist. Just to put in context, 12th Baptist is the church that Martin Luther King Jr. actually attended while he was at Boston University getting his doctoral degree. And I believe that this young man is actually walking in those footsteps. He is an inspiration to our neighborhood and community and has done a great deal of work organizing young people in our city and in our neighborhood to fight against violence and actually to emerge as leaders just like him. So I give you, without further ado, one of the baddest brothers in the city of Boston, Reverend Willie Broderick.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson, my counselor, to the president. Let us go to God for invocation. God of power, might, wisdom, and justice, through your authority, all things are administered. Our laws are enacted and justice is decreed. But on this day that we ask that you assist this council with your spirit of justice and peace and fortitude, so they may serve the people of Boston with your love and with your integrity. God, we ask that they always seek righteousness in every decision and deliberation, so that justice may continuously roll down like a mighty stream. So in this season of Thanksgiving, in this season that we share, we ask and we pray that this council's decisions and actions continue to bring hope to those who are hurting, continue to bring resources to those who are restricted. And God, we ask that they continue to bring opportunity to those who are oppressed. God, grant this council the ability and your power to enable them to continue to lead this great city of Boston. And God, we ask that you give them your power and protection as they do the work to servicing your people each and every day. God, we thank you, because we all can say that we too sing America. And we all can say that there's hope for everyone. We ask this in your precious and holy name. For me is Jesus Christ. And let every heart and mind say, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Willie Broderick, for your inspiring message and warm prayer. Councilor Jackson. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible. Thank you, Councilor Jackson, and again, thank you, Reverend Willie Broderick II, for joining us here today for our invocation. At this time, I'd like to ask Councilor Baker to please come to the dais, and he'll make a presentation. Hi, I'm Bill. How are you? Councilor Baker.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, I forgot my glasses. They're over there, so we'll just wing this one. I just want to introduce my friend Kaya here. Kaya's been doing a toy drive at the Tufts. What's the name of the Tufts? PD? HEMOC BMC. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, thank you. Kaya, who's now 9 years old, was diagnosed in 2011 with cancerous blood disorder that requires her to have transfusions and medicine administered intravenously and orally, numerous hospital stays annually. She receives her treatments at Tufts Pediatric Hematology Cancer Center. The children that attend this clinic are living with different forms of cancer and blood disorders that require them to frequently visit the clinic or the hospital. With your help and the help of Kaya's mom, Dana, and grandmother, this will be the 5th year collecting toys for Kaya Rose's annual toy drive, being able to fulfill Kaya's dream and vision to deliver toys for her friends that have to stay in the hospital over the Christmas season. On December 18th at 10 a.m., if anybody wants to join us, we'll be delivering toys there, and we also have multiple opportunities to donate more toys. These are just some that will be coming with us on the 18th. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my friend Kaya Rose.
Greetings, everyone. I would like to thank everyone, especially the city councilors and their staffs, for coming to show their support for my project called the Kaya Rose Annual Toy Drive. For those of you who may not know what the toy drive is about, my mission is to give toys to the children in PD HEMOC and PD BMT. This project started 5 years ago in 2010. The reason I do this is because in 2009, I was diagnosed with a blood cancer. I spent Christmas in the hospital. This is why we're here today, to give back to the kids who are in the hospital for Christmas. Happy holidays from my family to yours.
Very nice.
Can we come up and take a picture, please?
Great job, Guy. You're getting used to this, huh?
Yeah.
Of course, you know how proud we are.
Stand right up close so we can see you.
Hold on a sec. Are we ready, Kaya?
Yeah.
We're ready. Great. Congratulations.
And we'll see you next Friday.
Thank you, Kaya. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the Rose family for being here. And thank you, Councilor Baker, for this important presentation. For those in the viewing audience, if you want to get more information, you could contact Councilor Baker's office here at City Hall. If there are no corrections to be made, the minutes of the last meeting will stand approved. Seeing and hearing no objections, the minutes are so approved. Madam Clerk, Councilor Yancey and Councilor Presley have joined us. Could you please record that? Madam Clerk, communications from His Honor the Mayor, please.
Docket number 1928. Message and order authorizing the Office of New Bostonians to accept and expend a grant of $180,000 from the Open Society Foundation in partnership with Hyannis Foundation, the Boston Foundation, and the Herman and Frida L. Miller Foundation for the purpose of funding the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, and Deferred Action for Parental Accountability, DAPA, outreach initiative.
Docket 1928 will be assigned to the Committee on Healthy Women, Families, and Communities.
Docket number 1929, message and order authorizing the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture to accept and expend a grant of $100,000 from the National Endowment for the Arts, our town grant program, to support Boston AIR, which is Boston Artists in Residence.
Councilor moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1929. All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1929 has passed.
Docket number 1930, message and order authorizing the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture to accept and expend a grant of $5,000 from the Robert Treat Payne Association to support the Emerging Artists Award.
Councilor Wu moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1930. All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1930 has passed.
Docket number 1931, message and order authorizing the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture to accept and expend a grant of $1,500 from the Gillian Fund to support summer events Emerge Arts Festival.
Councilor Wu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I figured I would just get a little bit of detail on the record. It's at the end of the year, so customary for some of these grants to move quickly. But the reason we asked for suspension and passage of these two dockets that we voted on so far, and the next one as well, are to allow the Arts and Culture Office to accept the grants. The first one was $100,000 from the National Endowment for the Arts to fund 3 residencies that pair local artists with city departments. There's a 2-phase process winnowing down the selected finalists, and they will present, there will be a public event at the Bowling Building January 23rd, in case anyone would like to attend. The second docket, 1930, is $5,000 for the Emerging Artist Award. Again, it's an annual exhibition of emerging artists in the Scully Square Gallery in City Hall, and we offered 3 categories of prizes for artists. And finally, the docket number 1931 to fund the annual Boston Arts Festival, now rebranded as Emerge, which took place at City Hall this year.
Thank you, Councilor Wu. Councilor Wu moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1931. All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1931 has passed.
Docket number 1932, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend a donation of furniture from Wayfair LLC valued at $827 to be used for City Hall to-go program kitchen table top.
Councilor Sioma moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1932. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1932 has passed. Madam Clerk, matters recently heard for possible action, please.
Docket number 0353, ordinance amending Chapter 17 of the City of Boston Code ordinances regulating the practice of patrons bringing their own alcoholic beverages onto the premises, BYOB.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Government Operations, Councilor Flaherty, on docket 0353.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a very productive discussion on Monday with, obviously, a lot of our colleagues, along with the Office of Small Business Development, the Licensing Board, BPD, and representatives from the restaurant industry, working on just a couple minor issues around regulatory and enforcement issues, but something that we would like to and anticipate sending up to the Licensing Board, most likely at our next council meeting. But at this time, I'd like to defer it to the lead sponsors, Councilor Wu and Councilor Murphy, and just ask that this matter remain in committee. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Wu.
Just want to thank everyone for participating in the hearing. We had a great discussion and have, as Councilor Flaherty mentioned, a few items to tie up. One around really specifying in the regulations that anyone without a BYOB license cannot have BYOB, so really making that explicit. And the other piece around quantifying the amounts, the limit on amounts of alcohol that can be brought in. The recommendation was 1 bottle of wine per couple or a 6-pack of beer. And so we'll work through some of those details and hope to see this potentially next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Wu. Councilor Murphy. You all set? Okay. Docket 0353 will remain in the Committee on Government Operations.
Docket number 0568, order regarding a text amendment for Boston zoning code medical marijuana treatment centers.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Economic Development, Planning and Labor, Councilor LaMartina, on docket 0568.
Thank you, Mr. President. On docket 0568, we had a working session on Monday. There's still some issues that we have to work out, so we're going to this will remain in committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor LaMartina. Councilor Flaherty, did you want to say anything?
Just briefly, just thank the chair for expediting the working session. And we're working, obviously, with Commissioner Buddy Christopher, Jeff Hampton from the Zoning Commission, and Chief Jerome Smith, and also thank them for participating in the working session, as well as the feedback we got from the public. So in light of recent reports with respect to recreational marijuana, which was anticipated to be on the ballot in 2016, this is an opportunity for us to be on the front end to provide some sensible policy that we can implement to protect our neighborhoods from an oversaturation of marijuana-related businesses. So I look forward to continuing to work through the chair in the working session to tweak this further and hopefully have something for this body and for the Zoning Commission and the VRA in the first of the year. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Docket 0568 will remain in the Committee on Government, in the Committee on Economic Development, Planning and Labor. Thank you.
Docket number 1624, order for a hearing to review the results of the 2015 Fenway Parking Ordinance.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on City, Neighborhood Services, Veterans Affairs, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Through the chair, I was not able to attend this hearing because of a scheduling conflict, but my vice chair handled it, so if I could hand it over to him, that would be great.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. Councilor LaMartina.
Thank you, Mr. President. Monday evening, we had a hearing here on docket 1624 to review the results of the 2015 Fenway Parking Ordinance that we passed. Greg Rooney, Director of Parking Management and Transportation Department, was present, as well as Kevin Donahue, representatives of the Red Sox and Civic Association. I just be briefly, there are, as you know, if you park in a residential parking spot right now, the violation is $40. We increased that to $100. The Transportation Department issued 4,342 parking tickets. Residents in that neighborhood, very, very happy with the pilot program. The Red Sox organization, the president, they were happy with the pilot program. I'm very happy with the pilot program because I think it's something that we might want to expand in other areas of Boston during these big events that we have in the neighborhoods. So with that, I'd like to pass it to Councilor Zakin for some comments and urge this body to pass it.
Thank you, Councilor LaMartina. Councilor Zakin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Councilor LaMartina for attending and chairing the hearing. It was quite uncontroversial, which was a nice way to go about things. The Red Sox spoke in support, the Transportation Department, and certainly the residents who their support was never really in question on extending this. So I plan to work with Councilor LaMattina and obviously Councilor Flaherty, who was committee passed the original ordinance to extend this permanently, I think makes a lot of sense to look at other areas of the city where it may be more appropriate. I can only say that I have never had, on any issue, we've never seen such a sea change in constituent comments and responses to something that we've done, at least in the 2 years I've been on this body. Folks were talking about how not only was there less congestion because less residents were circling the neighborhood, but there were more parking spots. Certainly issuing almost 4,400 of these tickets, it was very cost effective for the city, and we're going to be working on if the ordinance can be extended on putting up signage to further alert and alter folks' behavior. I'm going to work, again, like I said, with my colleagues who have been active on this to draft an ordinance to extend these protections in Fenway and possibly other neighborhoods on a permanent basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zagan. Just 1 second for Saga. Docket 1244 will be placed on file. Five more late files? It's that time of year. Motions, orders, and resolutions, Madam Clerk. Please.
1244. We haven't read 1244.
In?
We did 1624,
Okay.
and that's placed on file. Docket number 1244, order for hearing regarding linkage fees to support the Neighborhood Jobs Trust and Neighborhood Housing Trust.
Recess, Madam. No. Seven. 6. I'm missing page 6. Did you get it? On the last matter, docket 1624, that Councilor LaMartina spoke on, will be placed on file. I gave the incorrect docket number. It was 1624. And Chair recognizes on docket 1244, that's the matter in which we have in front of us now, Madam Clerk. Just making sure. Chair recognized the Chair of the Committee on Economic Development and Planning, Councilor LaMartina, on that matter.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our working session was held yesterday on docket 1244. The goal was to discuss the next steps of changes that could help bring in more funds to address the affordable housing crisis and jobs. Key members from the administration participated, as well as housing and workforce advocates. The deadline for submitting linkage fee adjustment is November 16, 2016, and the city will be conducting a nexus study prior to the deadline to better inform any linkage fee changes. What will be included in the study and who will inform the process will be very important. The administration indicated that the council and the advocates will be engaged during the development of the study and when the results are compiled to further discuss the recommendations. Advocates are in support of a home rule petition prior to the deadline that will adjust the linkage fees now in order to capitalize on all the developments happening in the city right now and to bring in much needed funds for affordable housing and workforce training. This docket will remain in committee so that more working sessions can be held and to provide opportunities to inform this very important process. And at this time, I would like to allow the lead sponsor to speak on docket 1244, Councilor Flaherty.
Thank you, Councilor LaMartina. Councilor Flaherty.
Thank you, Mr. President, and let me thank the chair for hosting a very well-attended and productive working session yesterday. Both Chief Barros and Chief Dillon, on behalf of the administration, as well as the advocates for affordable housing and job training and job creation. And the chair did a great job in terms of summarizing it. The administration asking us to consider holding tight, waiting for the Nexus study, and yet the advocates, the people obviously that we represent and work for, are asking to potentially talk about home rule petitions. So it's an interesting dynamic that's taking place. We know that the city is experiencing unprecedented growth and development. We know we have an affordable housing crisis throughout our neighborhoods, and we know it's an important function to make sure that we're doing the best we can to create jobs and to train people to take advantage of the opportunities, the economic opportunities that are happening in our city. So clearly something to think about throughout the holidays. We will continue to work together to stay ahead of the issue and give some thought to the administration's recommendation at the same time while we're fielding calls and emails from advocates who are doing great work on behalf of some very needy citizens, those that are experiencing the crunch and having a difficult time to be able to find a place or to afford a place in our neighborhoods, and as well as those organizations that train and to get folks ready to enter the workforce, and particularly those that face barriers to entry. These are very critical programs. So something again to give some thought to over the holidays, and we'll pick this up right about January. Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to the chair and to those that attended.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Docket 1244 will remain in the Committee on Economic Development, Planning, and Labor. Madam Clerk, motions, orders, and resolutions, please.
Docket number 1933, Councilor O'Malley offered the following resolution that the council strongly urges the creation of an e-commerce exchange zones in police stations and other public buildings in Boston.
Chair recognizes Councilor O'Malley on docket 1933.
Mr. President, about a week and a half ago on Cyber Monday, $3 billion worth of online business took place in this country. Think about that. That's significantly more than our annual operating budget for this city for the entire year. And while most of that commerce took place on your bigger online retailers like Amazon.com and other retail stores, we're seeing an increasing growth in the number of folks that will conduct business, either buying something, tickets, a piece of furniture, something else, through buyer-to-buyer websites, things like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or eBay, a whole host of others. And while I always want to underscore the fact when we're talking about commerce that we need to do a better job, all of us, and as a city, of supporting our local business districts, the fact of the matter is many, many people conduct business online. Now, residents, when they buy something on the person-to-person commerce site, will often plan to meet somewhere. It could be at someone's house. It could be at a parking lot at a well-known location. And my thought is, why don't we designate the lobbies of local police stations as safe meetup places for folks? Oftentimes, they don't know these people that they're doing business with. It would certainly rout out any suspicion of fraud or threatens to someone's personal safety. So I reached out to Commissioner Evans. He's on board with this idea. I think this is a good piece of policy that we can do for virtually no money, other than the cost of erecting signs that say safe drop-off area in police lobbies. That's all that would need to be done. And I'm not certain about the number of people who would take advantage of this, but at least we're providing them an opportunity. 70 cities and towns throughout the country have created these designated e-commerce zones in police departments or parking lots of police stations. Our thought was, given the fact that parking is so scarce in the city, that we limit it only to the police lobbies. And I believe if passed and if enacted, Boston would be the largest in the country. On their rules, Craigslist even recommends that consumers consider making high-value exchanges at your local police station under the personal safety section of its website. For the cost of a sign, the City of Boston could provide residents with peace of mind as they participate in the electronic marketplace. This is something that we ought to do. Again, there's been support from the commissioner. I'll be asking for suspension and adoption of this resolution today. And the other thing it does, in addition to offering residents and consumers a safe place to go and conduct their personal business, I think it fits very, very nicely in the earned reputation of Boston in promoting community policing. So welcome people to sign on, and we'll be calling for suspension and adoption of this resolution today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Jackson?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to give kudos to Councilor O'Malley for being forward-thinking and for embracing where we're at. We live in a city with over 250,000 students who are in college or pursuing education, and many of them don't know the city as well. One of the things that I've spoken to the B2 police station about a lot is some of these interactions go wrong. What ends up happening is how much money the person has in their pocket because you renegotiated that amount of money. And so there have been several cases where, in particular, sneakers, and many of us probably are not cool enough to wear the types of sneakers that we're talking about, but there is an exchange in sneakers that actually goes on, and several of the pairs of sneakers that are on the market that get exchanged are in the thousands of dollars. And there are individuals who have been jumped based on this. So I think this is a really thoughtful and forward-thinking way of using our police facilities and also using the reputation of community policing and that safe space that you have in a police station. So thank you so much for this. It solves a huge issue for a lot of individuals who sadly have already been taken advantage of. And I look forward to implementing this. I'd like to have my name added, and I will be voting in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Madam Clerk, please add Councilor Jackson's name. Would you add my name also to that, please? Add Councilor Siomos, Councilor Flaherty's, Councilor LaMartinez, Councilor Presley's, Councilor Wu, Councilor Yancey, and Councilor Zink. Let me see. Councilor O'Malley would like to suspend the rules and pass docket 1933. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and docket 1933 has been adopted. Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Personnel orders, please.
Thank you. Docket number 1934. Councilor Linehan offers.
Councilor Siomo moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1934. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1934 has passed.
Docket number 1935. Councilor Linehan.
Councilor Yancey moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1935. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1935 has passed.
Docket number 1936, Counsel Linehan.
Counsel Yancey moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1936. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1936 has passed.
Docket number 1937, Counsel Linehan. for
Counsel
Counsel
Zeka moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1937. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1937 has passed.
Docket number 1938, Counsel Yancey for Counsel Zachem.
Counsel Siomo.
Counsel Linehan.
That's okay. Didn't we just read that one? Are there two?
Docket number 1938, Counsel Linehan for Counsel Zachem. This is the second Counsel Zachem.
Oh, okay. That's docket 1938.
Yes, Mr. President.
Counsel Zeka moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1938. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1938 has passed. Madam Clerk?
Docket number 19.
Madam Clerk, for a minute, please.
Docket number 1939, Counsel Linehan.
Counsel Siomo moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1939. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1939 has passed.
Docket number 1940, Counsel Linehan.
Counsel Siomo moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1940. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1940 has passed. Is this correct? There are 4 late file matters, Madam Clerk?
There are 4.
Okay. Okay. I'm informed by the clerk that there are 4 late file matters, which in absence of objection will be added to today's agenda. Hearing no objections, the matters are so added. The clerk will read the first late file matter.
On December 9th, 2015, Counsel Bill Linehan for Counsel McCarthy.
Counsel McCarthy moves suspension of the rules and passage of the first late file matter. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The first late file matter has passed.
December 9th, 2015, Counsel Bill Linehan for Counsel
Counsel Jackson
Jackson.
moves suspension of the rules and passage of the second late file matter. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The second late file matter has passed.
December 9th, 2015, Counsel Bill Linehan for Counsel Jackson.
Counsel Jackson moves suspension of the rules and passage of the third late file matter. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the third late file matter has passed.
Fourth late file, Mr. President.
Yeah, the last late file matter.
In
Please read that.
In the office of the Mayor, Martin J. Walsh, December 8th, 2015. Dear Madam Clerk, please note that I will be out of town from 9:30 a.m. Wednesday, December 9th, 2015, until 11:30 a.m. Wednesday, December 9th, 2015. Please let me know if you have any questions. Sincerely, Martin J. Walsh, Mayor of
Madam
Boston.
Clerk, that matter will be placed on file. Anybody wishing to remove matter from the green sheets may do so at this time. Council Lamattina.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to pull on page 4 of 15, docket number 1027.
The docket was docket
1027.
1027.
Thank you. in the Committee on Economic Development, Planning and Labor, docket number 1027, sponsored by the mayor. Message and order declaring surplus land located at 115 Federal Street, Ward 3, parcel number 04225000, to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of said property to the Public Facilities Commission. This matter was referred to committee in June 10th, 2015, a hearing on June 15th, and it is currently before the body. There has been several working sessions on this matter, at least 3 or 4.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor Lamartina.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, the city is planning to surplus this land to the BRA. Winter Square Garage has been abandoned for almost 3 years, providing no revenues, holding back economic growth in that neighborhood, and presented a public safety risk for that period of time. The city of Boston has seen in recent past what happens when we miss a positive economic cycle for development. The current site of the Millennium Tower in downtown Crossing was a hole in the ground for almost 6 years because we did not strike when the market had momentum. The Winter Square Garage represents the incredible opportunity to capitalize on available city access. We simply cannot afford to miss this opportunity. The City Council received an order to dispose of the Winthrop Square Garage on June 10, 2015. The Committee on Economic Development, Planning and Labor held a hearing on June 15th and a working session on August 6th. Through the course of that public scrutiny, this council has secured more assurances and more advanced information about a disposition of this type than any council I can remember. First, the council demanded and received an assurance that the City of Boston, and not the BRA, will receive the proceeds from the sale of Winter Square Garage. Because we are holding the BRA accountable, our efforts have secured a commitment to an MOA between the City of Boston and the BRA that guarantees that the City of Boston gets the proceeds. Second, the council has information that no other council has had prior to taking a vote on this nature. We had the 8 responses to the RFI in our hands before we vote. In other words, we know more about this development will potentially be than nearly any other development process. Third, the council received appraisals of the property in advance of the vote, both verbally and in the hearing working session, as well as the full copies of the draft appraisals done last year. We have also secured assurances that more updated appraisals will be done and shared before any final decision is made on the site. Fourth, we have a role to play in how the proceeds are spent. As a council, we must vote on any use of money that comes from this sale. The city will deposit all net proceeds realized from the sale of the lease of the garage into the surplus property disposition fund, and then will be credited to the capital fund of the city unless we determine by majority of vote of the council to credit funds to the general fund. Any sum credited to the general fund will be able to be used for encouraging further economic development and priorities like public, affordable, and middle-income housing. The BRA has the capacity to work with their planning and finance department to ensure that the best development is picked for the community and the city. It should also be noted that this project will have to go through the full Article 80 community process. We have assurances from the mayor's administration and the BRA that they will continue to work with us throughout this process. In short, by holding the BRA's feet to the fire since June and making it clear that we demand transparency, community process, and a voice in this and other developments, we will secure more transparency in partnership with the BRA than any other disposition of this kind that anyone can remember. That is the power of this body, and it is that power that we can continue to use as the disposition, sale, and development of the Winthrop Square Garage site progresses. I urge my colleagues to join me in voting in the affirmative so that we can make sure that the city of Boston does not miss an opportunity like this to catch the economic cycle at its high point and avoid having a valuable parcel identify sit dormant as a drain on that part of our city of Boston. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Martina. Chair recognizes Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Vice President. I rise because this particular matter has been, it's been a lot in a vacant garage in a blighted area in the middle of my district for the entire time that I've served here on the Boston City Council. And it seems like we have a real opportunity right now to move this matter forward and to capture the maximum amount of money for a disposition of this property. The assessments are anywhere between 30 and 50, 60 million dollars that could occur from the sale of this property through an appropriate development process. And I'm truly excited and supportive of this. I will be voting in the affirmative. I think that the chairman, and I want to thank you specifically for all the hard work you've done in making sure that the memorandum of agreement, which that you have in your packet here today, has much more fortification. It's much clearer, and it puts the council in a position where the dispensing of the monies out of the surplus property fund will go through this body. So regardless of the amount of money, when this money is appropriated, it will go through this body in one capacity or another, either through the part of the capital plan or a vote from the council directly if it was going to be used for one-time operations fund. I agree with the chair in saying that this is the opportunity that we need to seize it at this time. This could be an amazing development, and that particular property has generated no tax revenue over the past few years. Once this development is completed, it will be an enhancement to our new growth revenue stream, and the amount of money in taxation will be in the millions of dollars, and we need to continue to do that. As a body, we have done this since I've served for nearly 9 years. We've had $40 million of new growth revenue coming into the city each of those 9 years based on us working with the administration around development. So I'm supportive of this initiative, and I will be voting in the affirmative. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councilor Linehan. Councilor LaMartina moves docket 1027. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Docket 1002. Without the vote, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Baker. Yes. Councilor Baker, yes. Councilor Siomo.
Yes.
Councilor Siomo, yes. Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Flaherty, yes. Councilor Jackson. Councilor Jackson, no. Councilor LaMartina. Councilor LaMartina, yes. Councilor Linehan.
Yes.
Councilor Linehan, yes. Councilor McCarthy. Councilor McCarthy, yes. Councilor Murphy. Councilor Murphy, yes. Councilor O'Malley. Councilor O'Malley, yes. Councilor Presley. Councilor Presley, yes. No, thank you. I'm sorry. I misheard you. Councilor Wu. Councilor Wu, yes. Councilor Yancey. Councilor Yancey, no. Councilor Zachem. Councilor Zachem, yes. Mr. President, you have. This matter has passed.
Docket 1027 has 10 votes in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, and docket matter 1027 has passed. Thank you. Are there any other matters which folks would like to pull from the green sheets? Please do so by signifying. Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. There are 10 late file matters which, in absence of objection, will be added to the consent agenda. Hearing no objections, the matters are so added. The chair moves adoption of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the consent agenda is adopted. I'd ask all guests and all members to please rise as the council prepares to adjourn today's meeting in the memory of the following individuals. For the following individual: Councilor Baker, Judy Burke. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. I just want to make a quick note before we adjourn. I want to remind folks that next week is our last meeting. And at that particular meeting, we will make two very special presentations to our colleague, Councilor Murphy and Councilor Yancey. At the very beginning of the meeting, there'll be an opportunity for each one of you members after the presentation that I make. You'll have an opportunity to say a few words on their behalf, and they'll also have an opportunity to say something in return to all of you. After that meeting, we will have a luncheon in the Curly Room, and that will be for city council members and staff. Okay? So the chair moves that when the council adjourns today, it does so in memory of the aforementioned individual and is scheduled to meet again on Wednesday, December 16th at 12 noon. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the council is so adjourned.